Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Hakuoki, Kyoto Wins. We're on Kazue Souma's route. In the last episode, he joined us for some rounds and witnessed us subduing some troublemakers, or watched Harada subdue some troublemakers. At first he didn't quite get the peacemaking, but he understands it now, I think. And the shop owner invited us into a little hospitality. So let's see if we actually get that, or if they'll just skip it. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story.
Well, why not? It couldn't hurt to rest a little.
Harada beckoned to his men to come inside and enjoy some tea, while the mood of the city settled nicely once the commotion was over. Man, I guess they must not have huge troops. Hot tea was served for Harada, Souma, and me. Souma didn't touch the tea, though, as he kept looking down somberly at the table. What's wrong? I'm sorry about my outburst earlier. I guess I pegged you wrong from the start.
Don't sweat it. When we first met, it was all a big misunderstanding.
Oh, well back then, I didn't know anything. Today I thought I had it all figured out, but as it turns out, I still knew nothing. Souma sighed deeply, lost in the constellations of thought as he murmured the soft words. The leaders and my colleagues in my domain only ever care about what others think of them. All the domain worries about is what the shogun is up to, never trying to rock the boat. They're complacent in their work, but they never actually experience the world. That's why there's so much skeevery, and bribes are prevalent. No one does anything about it. All they worry about is protecting themselves. I mean, the reason I was sent to Kyoto and Osaka was to observe the shogunate and Sacho's battle for power. I have the intention of aligning myself with a more advantageous group someday.
Like the Shinsengumi?
But the Shinsengumi are different. All of you have a strong self-possession, and none of you let the words of others bother you or get in the way of your duties. Yep, we don't care what other people think. We do what's right. Souma's voice burned with passion, and the smoke from the tea flickered between him and Harada as the latter sipped his tea.
Boy, I didn't know we were on a tea date now. What with you making me blush over here?
Aww.
There are so many domains, and even more people with independent thoughts. Even each Shinsengumi warrior thinks differently. I'm not sure what it is you saw today, but there are so many kinds of people in the Shinsengumi. Not everyone joins us with good intentions.
Yeah, like Takeda and Ito.
There are guys who live and die by the sword and spear, people who struggle to make ends meet, people desperate just to survive. There are people whose only skills are with an abacus, and this one here is only a page.
Hey, you don't have to point that out. Me? Harada's sudden mention of me caught me off guard as he pointed toward my face. I guess technically I'm a page, but...
This one is with us under special circumstances, but for now, this one serves as Hijikata's page. With all that said, not everyone is either noble or chivalrous like a samurai should be. But I guarantee each man is a strong one. They charge forward, sword in hand, courage in heart. That kind of man belongs in the Shinsengumi. Yes, there are so many different positions, and I understand the circumstances that connect you. More importantly, I can see the heart behind what you all work to achieve in Kyoto. I'm envious of you guys. Souma looked almost choked up by his words, and he adjusted himself to face us. Harada, Yukimura, I want to be the kind of person who holds his head high as a warrior, no cowardice or fear. The type of warrior who is steadfast in his convictions, one who is honest and confident. I would love to be a noble warrior, just like all of you someday. Slow your roll, kid. Let's back it up. Why are you being so respectful all of a sudden?
No, you see, I didn't know anything until now. Please forgive me for my attitude, Harada.
What the hell are you talking about? There's nothing to forgive. Stop worrying about it.
Souma then turned toward me and bowed.
You too, Yukimura.
If you're Hijikata's page, I can sense that you've learned what it means to be a warrior with the Shinsengumi. Huh? Why don't we both aim to be great warriors as underlings? Souma flashed his hopeful eyes toward me. Dodge his offer, that's not right. That sounds so messed up. Obviously I'm going to respond kindly. Oh, no, don't worry about it. Let's work hard. I felt bad for seeming so aloof to him. Although I have no intentions or aspirations toward becoming a great warrior like Soma, he looked so serious that I couldn't kill the mood. Oh, I'm probably like the only person here smaller than him, so he wants somebody to work towards something with. So even though I stretched the truth a little bit, it shouldn't be a problem.
Aren't you happy? Your comrade here aspires to be a great warrior.
Harada, you don't have to laugh so hard.
Well, it's good for everyone to work their ass off, but for you, it can be outside of swordsmanship. I mean, everyone's cut out for different things.
Yes, I know.
Is swordsmanship not your thing, Yukimura?
Suddenly, Soma's hand reached toward my shoulder. What are you doing? What the heck?
Ah, I see. You don't have much muscle on your shoulders or arms.
Just the look on Chizuru's face is so funny. Dude, you don't even have to feel me up to tell that. You could just see without touching.
It's so soft and gentle. It's almost like you're a girl.
Hands off, dude! Soma? He grabbed my shoulders and hands with more vigor, and it started to tickle. Even though Soma had no idea what he was doing, it kind of felt embarrassing. Soma was oblivious to this and continued feeling up my arms. Dude, enough!
Although you're just a page, you're still a part of the Shinsengumi. I'm sure a time will come for you to draw your sword. I think you should train a little more, Yukimura.
That is true. I do believe that. Sure, I'll try my best. I looked at Harada, hoping he'd help me get out of this situation, but he only chuckled lightly. I thought he'd be like trying really, really hard not to start laughing out loud. Soma wouldn't stop asking about the Shinsengumi, and the more stories he heard, the more excited he became, waving energetically as he left us. He had no clue I was a man, huh?
Usually it only takes a touch or two to notice, but I guess he's as dumb as Heisuke and Shinpachi.
Well, it's about time at least one of the new guys was clueless. Good lord. I suppose it was a good thing he didn't realize it was all a disguise, but wow, I hoped I still had some femininity left. We left again for the base. Well, I guess that can be a little disheartening. And here I return to my room. Go outside. Yes, it might be asking for too much. Yeah, I think Soma's arch rival is going to be Miki. Why do all the new guys have to have really hot adversaries? Why can't they make the bad guys ugly so we don't lust after them so much? Alright, here we have to go back to headquarters. And here we say, but... And this time we go look for Okita.
Huh? Chizuru?
Okita looked up from cleaning his sword as I entered the hall.
Aren't you at Nijo Castle? What are you doing here? What are you doing here alone?
Well,
Oh, I know. You get in trouble. I bet Hijikata sent you back here, huh?
Yeah, something like that. Why am I lying?
You know, when you respond with such a pouty face like that, it's no fun for me to poke all my fun at you.
Good, I'm glad to ruin your fun.
Alright, you better tell me what happened.
Well, still feeling upset, I told Okita about the incident that unfolded at Nijo Castle. The minute I mentioned Kazuma's name, Okita's eyes lit up.
I see. Chikage Kazuma. He was there, huh? If only I'd known they were going to show up. No way Kono could have kept me here.
What? Of course he could have. No, you're sick. Hijikata told you to rest.
Oh, shut up, will you? That's all your fault. The medicine you gave me totally doesn't
Okita! For just a moment, all colors but one faded away. I forgot about demons and castles upon seeing one thing, the sickly red splatter across Okita's hand and mouth. Are you okay? I'll go get someone. Heisuke!
No.
His voice was rough and strained, but filled with unexpected rage. He wiped the blood from his mouth and glared at me over the top of his hand. From under his bangs, his eyes, burning with anger, nailed me to the floor.
Forget about what you just saw. It's nothing. Just hurt my throat.
Back when I was in Edo, I was helping my father out at his clinic. There were a few times when I'd seen patients who coughed up blood from coughing too much. But what I just saw was something else. Okita?
Did you not hear me just now? I told you to forget about it.
He was so adamant about me not helping him, so it was difficult to know how to react. What could I tell him? But... Come on, man. But...
If you tell this to anyone, I'll kill you.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Okay. But at least, please just go to sleep and rest.
Fine. He's like, yeah, sure, Mom.
Okita pouted like a child and unwillingly accepted. The words of the men who claimed to be demons lingered in my heart. There were so many things for me to be worried about. However, more than any of that, I was just worried about the man sick in front of me. I continued to eye Okita, who slept with his back faced toward me as I watched the dawn slowly emerge from the long cold night. And this time, no, I'll take care of it myself. And sadly, again, it's not any of my business, but given that scene we just saw with him coughing up blood anyway, I think we already know what the deal is. And once again, my father. The Hamaguri rebellion had created an even deeper rift between the shogunate and the Choshu. The shogunate was planning an expedition to punish the Choshu with military force. Thanks to the Choshu's retreat, the casualty count wasn't very large, but 2 years had passed since the Choshu expedition, and it was now September of 1866. The shogunate was planning a large offensive against the Choshu, gathering many soldiers to join the envoy.
With all that said, I want to scope the status of the envoy, and it looks like the shogunate is well stocked with men. At the very least, we're certain that our forces greatly surpass those of the Choshu. Well, if we're going to war, having more soldiers is always a good thing, but numbers aren't enough this time. There are many who are opposed to this expedition, aren't there? Yes, it hurts me to say this, but the morale amongst the warriors is low. Hopefully this doesn't prove to be our Achilles' heel.
Although the summer was drawing to a close, the intense heat made us moist with sweat. I'd bought tea to Hijikata's room, and I was listening to Kondo, who had just returned from accompanying and observing the expedition. Will the men of the Shinsengumi join the battle this time?
Our role is to protect the streets of Kyoto. For others, supposedly it's better for them to leave Kyoto and participate in their battle. That kinda sucks. Seems like the perfect chance for us to up our credentials. Don't worry about it. There'll be more opportunities in the future.
As opposed to Okita, who seemed bummed out about not having to fight, I was a little relieved. I was sure that if I said this aloud, everyone would be angry with me, but being involved in a huge war seems like the easiest way to get everyone injured.
Regardless, we are certain there will be more conflicts in the near future.
Yep, plenty of chances for people to get injured.
If something were to happen, I'm sure we will be called upon, so everyone keep on your toes.
As he said that, Kondo lit up as if he just remembered something.
Ah, that's right. While on location, I had the chance to see many things and people. As I was observing the Shogun army, I was reunited with Souma.
Ah. Wait, the Soma?
The Souma? How? Never heard of him.
Do you remember the person whom Heisuke bought over and argued with about the woodblock print?
Oh, not really. Didn't leave an impression that I remembered.
He had met Soma a long time ago while I was accompanying Harada on a round.
It's so soft and gentle. It's almost like you're a girl. That was so hilarious. I think you should train a little more, Yukimura.
He had looked me straight in the eye, promising to work hard with me to become a great warrior. But I thought he'd returned to his domain. But why was Soma with the Shogunate army? I thought he was serving some other domain.
It looks as though he's left his domain. I mean, he didn't seem too thrilled to work under them. He was a fool for throwing away his chance to serve.
Hearing Hijikata, Kondo rushed to clarify.
It's not like that, Toshi. Even if every person was unhappy with their domain, only a few actually choose to change their path. You'd need some major reservations. Soma was saying that his domain had no desire to fight for the shogunate. That's why he left. I think he's incredibly courageous for his age, especially for a youth like him in this time. Well, his swordsmanship was subpar. According to Heisuke, some ronin clocked him, and he fell straight on his ass.
That was a long time ago.
If we were to go by your standards, then nearly half the men wouldn't be impressive enough for you. Anyway, Kondo, what happened to Soma afterwards? I was so inspired by his convictions that I invited him to join the Shinsengumi. In terms of working under the shogunate, it's not much different to serving in the army if one joins the Shinsengumi, so that's why I asked him.
And what was his response?
Unfortunately, he seemed lukewarm to the idea. After all, the threat of war is upon us, so maybe he wants to defeat the Choshu first.
Oh, he's not joining us yet.
Defeat the Choshu, huh? Hopefully the expedition goes successfully.
As if to justify Hijikata's worry, the second expedition resulted in a shogunate loss. The loss was a confluence of a few things. During the war, Iemochi Tokugawa passed away, confusing the shogunate's chain of command. The Choshu, too, were armed with advanced artillery, causing a huge gap between them and the shogunate in terms of arms and strategy. Soldiers grew weary from the battlefield, as well as from the commotion of their higher command. The shogunate, who were normally tasked with maintaining power, was disintegrating. It was a dark omen emerging like a cloud over the shogunate's uncertain future. With the second expedition coming to a close, the summer had come to an end. Yamazaki was helping me complete some errands, and we took some time to rest. Thank you so much for helping me with the cooking and laundry, Yamazaki. Some Yamazaki time, probably something that belonged on his route.
Please, it wasn't difficult at all. If I may ask, why were you doing the food preparation on your own? There should have been others here to take care of it today.
Oh, the people who were supposed to do the food prep today wanted to join Ito's seminar. Those lazy bastards.
Ito, huh?
Yamazaki sighed lightly and scratched his cheek. I could understand how he was probably feeling. It seemed like Ito and his supporters weren't following the rules and regulations well recently. As Nagakura would put it, they're seeding friction within the organization, which no one seemed too thrilled about. Except for Ito's people, I guess.
Well, at this rate, we don't even know what they're talking about during these seminars.
Then why don't we have some ninja-like person eavesdrop on them, Yamazaki? I guess they're supposed to be talking about the Choshu expedition and everything that happened. Despite gathering warriors from all over the domains, the shogunate wasn't able to defeat the Choshu domain. Shh! He cut me off suddenly, and I stood there confused. Is something the matter, Yamazaki?
Do not avert your gaze. Listen to my voice. There's someone at the entrance watching us.
Is it Soma? Coming to join us? What? Yamazaki's line of vision seemed casual, but I saw him looking behind me. I couldn't see the location myself, but I did get the sense someone was there. Do you think they look threatening?
He looks like a ronin. He's been pacing back and forth for a while now.
Yeah, he's nervous about coming in.
He could be a spy, or...
Yamazaki was swift. I thought I saw him place his hand inside his pocket, but suddenly he kicked the floor and ran.
Whoa! Who are you? Name your affiliation this instant.
Before I'd even blinked, Yamazaki had already twisted the man's arms behind him and pointed his wakizashi toward him.
This is all a misunderstanding. I was just trying to make sure this was really the Shinsengumi headquarters.
No, I think you knew what it was. You were just nervous about coming in. Soma? His voice was stammering, but his face was familiar. When Soma's eyes caught mine, his face lit with excitement.
Yukimura!
What are you doing here?
Do you know him, Yukimura?
Yes, Kondo knows him as well. He's not a bad person.
Oh, you were a guest. I apologize for being so rough with you.
Yamazaki let him go, and Soma finally sighed.
No, it was my fault for acting suspiciously.
But why were you walking back and forth in front of the headquarters? If you had approached us, we could have easily helped you find where you need to be.
Well, I didn't think the Shinsengumi would change their headquarters to a place like this, so I was confused. And besides,
Huh? Soma stuttered as if troubled by something, and he soon muttered himself into silence. I wonder if something had happened. Anyways, we'll lead you down to the compound so you can visit Kondo yourself. I'm sure the captains will be delighted to see you. 'Cause they have nothing better to do, I'm sure. Yamazaki went to summon the others, and we waited for a while. Kondo, Hijikata, and Saito came into the common room shortly after.
It's been a while, Chief Kondo, Commander Hijikata, and Captain Saito. It's a pleasure to have you here with us, Soma. It's been a while since we last met.
Yes, since the Shogunate army was stationed in Osaka, I decided to take a break and come by.
The Shogunate army, eh? I heard you suffered some serious losses during that last expedition.
Were you injured at all, Soma? Oh. Soma fell silent once more. He seemed hesitant to speak, but eventually he began to open up. You see, I joined the Shogunate army and was able to participate in battle, but since I was put in the reserves, I didn't see much action.
Oh, that's unfortunate, but being on standby is part of your duty as a soldier.
I understand, and that's why I made sure to be prepared for battle at any second. However, it seemed like I was the only one who felt pride in his duty, whereas my peers did not. Many of the other men would say, "We've been spared," or "Thank goodness we don't have to fight," or "We should leave the fighting for other men." Many seemed to share this sentiment, and not just the warriors, but the captains as well.
Well, there isn't much you can do. Not everyone has what it takes to be a warrior. So, you've lost faith in the Shogunate army?
No, it wasn't that I've lost faith in them, but rather, I've been driven to anger. I wanted so badly to prove my mettle on the battlefield, even leaving my domain to join them. But in reality, it wasn't much different than before. I mean, maybe it just comes down to where I was stationed, but it was so... As Soma vented his frustrations, his voice was quivering. We listened closely to his lamentation. Who could blame him for him to make the effort to better himself and have it blow up in his face? I'm sure it was difficult for him to hold his head high while those around him acted shamefully. I'm sorry. I didn't want to speak ill of my superiors, but...
There's no need to apologize. It's true one should not speak ill of them, but... I too have felt the same concerns as you. It seems that those who are loyal to the Shogunate are becoming fewer and far between.
Chief Kondo.
Soma, I understand where you're coming from. No matter how many times you sharpen your sword, if you can't use it, it's a waste. It sounds as though your crisis of faith comes from the question of whether or not you should still serve in the Shogunate army.
Yes, that's true. Should I continue to serve with them, or... Soma cut himself off. He struggled to form words as his mouth shook.
Well, this is actually why I've come to you today.
He seemed to have made up his mind, and he turned proudly to face Kondo. Chief Kondo, you kindly extended the offer to join the Shinsengumi to me, and I wanted to see what the Shinsengumi was about with my own eyes.
I see. So, what do you think of us now that you've spoken with us?
Normally, people who leave their domains are treated with contempt no matter where they go. We're looked at as traitors, and many times we're given the cold shoulder. However, I sensed that this place was different.
Well, the Shinsengumi comes from all walks of life, and we are a haven to many outcasts. There are many like you who have left their domains. Look at me. My family weren't warriors. I had trouble finding acceptance in other places.
Which is insane because he's so amazing. The Shinsengumi, though, have people from many backgrounds that can still serve the Shogunate, regardless of family or name. If I am to learn the way of the sword, I don't think I could find a better place than here. Soma made his declaration proudly, looking the captain straight in the eye. Then he bowed deeply and prostrate. Please, please allow me to become a member of the Shinsengumi. Soma!
Soma, I want to ask one thing of you. What do you think defines a warrior?
Unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that. I'm still young and I'm figuring it out. However, I feel like I can discover the answer if I serve under the Shinsengumi.
Ah, that's a good answer. We are still seeking to find the meaning ourselves. We have yet to truly understand what it means to be a warrior. That is why we work so hard.
Kondo chuckled lightly, and then looked to Saito and Hijikata, who nodded to one another.
Very well. As the chief of the Shinsengumi, I will approve your enlistment.
Really?
Yes, but just because Kondo extended his offer to you doesn't mean we plan on going easy. If you want to become one of us, you need to give us your all, every single day. Every day until you could stand toe-to-toe with any one of us.
Well, that'll just be forever then, because he'll never beat Soji or Saito. Soma beamed, barely able to contain his joy. It made me smile.
What's the matter, Yukimura? Did you want to say something?
I'm so happy for him. Oh, I'm just happy for him.
That Soma joined the Shinsengumi?
Yes. I think it's wonderful for someone to find somewhere they belong.
Well, first, we'll need to start you off as a member of one of our divisions. I wouldn't mind him joining my 3rd division. Oh, I already decided where to put him. I'll have him as my page in training.
Wow, really?
I want you to work beside me to discover the path of becoming a true warrior.
Great, I'll give it my all.
Hey, Yukimura, I know this is a big task, but do you think you could pass on some of what you learned as Toshi's page to Soma?
Me?
Chief, are you sure? If he is to become your page, then you must have the utmost confidence in him and his abilities. I have faith in him. I've been so exhausted running back and forth, so having someone to lend me a hand will be great. Besides, knowing him, I bet he'll be as good as Yukimura in no time.
But am I really that good? Do I even really get to serve as Hijikata's page?
Well, if you're so sure, Kondo, then I have no qualms with him as your page.
Kondo nodded, and I turned towards Soma.
This means you're my teacher now. It's going to be an honor to work under you.
Wow, that's really weird. Teacher? I wasn't used to having power over anyone here, so being referred to in this way tickled me.
There's been another recent recruit named Nomura, and the two of you should learn from Yukimura on what it takes to be a page.
Ah, great, I get 2 to take care of. Wait, are you sure you want to be learning from someone like me, Soma?
Of course. Besides, now that you're my teacher, we'll be spending all our time together.
Alright, just don't feel up my frail skinny arms and tell me how weak I am anymore. Well, let's figure out a lesson plan first. Was it okay for him to trust me as his teacher? Are you ready to be my disciple, Soma?
Yes, it's an honor, Yukimura.
Well, I'm glad you're enthusiastic about that. And now we have some new text. Another summer came and went, memories frozen in the amber of the autumn season.
What the heck? Huh? Ow!
Aw, come on, done already? Jeez, you two are the pits. The sounds of bokken swinging and clashing rang through the inner court under the gleaming sun. It was a beautiful afternoon for sword training. And Soji's beating the crap out of these two. Okita stared down at his 2 pupils, who were sprawled along the floor panting. He set down his wooden sword and sighed. Okita? Do you think you were a bit too rough on them? Hey, they're the ones who asked me to train them. If they're gonna call themselves Shinsengumi, then they have to at least be able to dodge a slice. I wanted to say something along the lines of don't take it too far, but I kept quiet. Eventually, the 2 rose from the floor.
Ow! Man, Okita, think you could go a little easier on us, huh?
So, when you imagine yourself on the battlefield, are your imaginary enemies gonna be easy on you too? Wow, what real nice chaps.
Ugh.
Well, I guess I can't expect you to be as good as a captain, but if you're gonna call yourself a page to the chief, you gotta toughen up a little. Wait, so they're both Kondo's pages? Well, I mean, it would make sense that he would have 2 because he's probably very busy, but still. I just didn't know. Say an emergency happens. We need people willing to risk their lives for Kondo. His eyes were brought to a squint as he spoke. They were so cold that any person with a weak disposition would likely crumble before him. However, Soma nodded at Okita's suggestion, accepting what his teacher was telling him.
Of course you don't need to tell us. The duty of a warrior is to protect their master.
Oh, so you finally managed to pick yourself up off the ground long enough to say that much. Typically, people who work themselves to the bone don't have the strength to mince words.
I'm fine. Please, let's go one more time. Alright, if Soma's in, then so am I.
You guys are sending me mixed messages now. Come on, Soma motivated his friend. Their training lasted until the sun began to descend into the sunset, and dusk emerged. As each hour passed, I could have sworn that I heard swing after swing of the wooden swords. I had brought water and some towels to the 2 trainees on the floor. You 2 okay?
Do I look alright? Hey, Nomura. He's our teacher. Watch your mouth.
As I examined their bodies, I saw they were covered in bruises, hardly what I'd call alright. I wrung the towel over a bucket to squeeze out the water and placed the towel over their bruises. And that'd be like their whole body. So, how are you enjoying life around the headquarters?
It's good. Still plenty of stuff to learn, but I'm getting used to it little by little. To be honest, though, I didn't expect training to be this brutal.
The person sitting before me who smiled bitterly through his soreness was Risaburo Nomura. He, like many others, had left his domain to join the Shinsengumi around the same time as Soma. They're both equal in standing since they both served Kondo as his pages in training. Since they were around the same age, they became fast friends. Well, Okita's training is known to be the harshest among the captains. But I think you 2 are holding up fine. Normally people would have given up by now. I think they should have chosen Saito. For some reason I feel like he would be the best teacher.
Well, we'd be a laughingstock if we gave up the minute we joined.
Soma, despite his bruises, seems so content. Well, I think he feels like he finally found his place. By the time I had returned from the well to bring them more water, the 2 were still caught up in discussion over their training.
Man, Oki's strength is the real deal. The 2 of us combined couldn't even touch him.
Alright, and actually here we're going to stop the video. Hooray! Soma's part of the Shinsengumi now! So we'll get to see him on a more regular basis, not just in passing, or coincidences. But what, we're already almost done chapter 3. Well, maybe he'll have lots of scenes in chapters 4 and 5. We'll see how things come along. Or maybe he just has a little less material than, Sakamoto and Iba. Whatever the case may be, hope to see you in the next episode or some of my other videos, and I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye bye everybody.